So in today's video, we are going to discuss the differences and similarities between the EZONE 100 and the EZONE 98 to help answer one question: which is better for you? So let's just start off with the easy similarities between the 100 and the 98. They're both made by Yonex. They're both marketed towards power players who are seeking a little bit better comfort and feel than those who might gravitate towards something like a Pure Drive or a Wilson Ultra. Looking at the specs, a lot actually lines up to be pretty similar. The swing weights are almost identical, with the EZONE 100 coming in at 317 and the 98 at 318. This is within margin of error of both manufacturing and Babolat RDC machines, so don't expect a huge difference there. The next similarity is the stiffness. So the 100 comes in at 67 strung and the 98 at 65 strung. 2 points is definitely noticeable to most players, but considering the beam width on the 100 is so much thicker, the actual response off the frame feels pretty similar. They're both very comfortable, more comfortable than a lot of their rivals, and they offer better feel than a lot of their rivals as well, looking at any Babolat ever made. So what are some of the big differences? Well, the first one is the head size. Obviously, the 100 has a bigger head versus the 98, but also the beam width is quite a bit different. The 98 coming in with a much thinner beam versus the chunky beam that's on the 100. So what does this mean? Well, the 98 is a lot more control oriented versus the 100, which gives you a lot better power. But it's not just power in the sweet spot. Also, the sweet spot is significantly expanded and you're getting great power, stability, and spin outside the string bed with the 100 square inch racket. Not to mention you get that extra 2 square inches of hitting space. But it's not just the beam thickness and the head shape that make the EZONE 100 feel a lot more stable than the EZONE 98. Big part of that is going to be the twist weight. So we've talked about twist weight on this channel before. I'll post some links in the video's description if you want to learn a little bit more about it. But essentially, it's a great indicator for torsional stability. The EZONE 100 has a twist weight of 15.02 versus the twist weight on the EZONE 98 of 14.03. One twist weight point is a big difference. It's something that you're really going to notice on the court. The higher the twist weight, the more stable the racket is going to feel, especially on off-center shots to 3 and 9. This higher number is achieved by increasing the weight at that 3 and 9 o'clock position. When you increase weight towards the extremities of the frame, you're going to be decreasing that maneuverability as it takes more force to overcome the leverage on the racket. So what else does that change in twist weight mean for the EZONE 98 versus the EZONE 100? Well, off-center performance in the EZONE 100 is going to be a lot better. Better spin outside the sweet spot, more power on off-center shots, and a lot more stability. This really comes in handy for flat shots anytime you're taking the ball on the rise, service returns, and I really like it on volleys too. So what are the downsides of having that higher twist weight? Well, the EZONE 100 is a lot less maneuverable than the EZONE 98. The EZONE 98 at 14.03, it's one of the most maneuverable 98s in its class, and this is great for spin players like myself. I notice this especially on my forehand. So my forehand has a lot of wrist whip action, and I really need that high level of maneuverability to be effective with spin. So that higher twist weight in the EZONE 100 is going to be very helpful for flat hitters. Flat hitters typically don't benefit as much from that high level of maneuverability because of a more linear stroke with less vertical wrist movement that you might see a spin player use. Some examples in my game are my backhand is very flat, very linear, bit choppy, and not that great. My forehand is a lot more loopy with a longer stroke, and there's a lot more vertical action on it. So I really prefer the EZONE 98 on my forehand. I can hit any shot that I need to, the cross-court angles, the inside out, the passing shot. I can lob up a good defensive ball if I need to because I've got that maneuverability and I've got that good control from the string bed. On the other hand, my backhand was terrible with the EZONE 98. I was shanking them all over the place. If I hit it off center, I really lost a lot of confidence. But my backhand was awesome with the EZONE 100. I could take balls really early with it because I could trust that great stability and plow through from the EZONE 100. Whether I was chipping or just putting it back a deep, strong ball on my backhand, it felt really good. With serves, it's the same story. Flat serves on the EZONE 100 felt great. I could really penetrate the court, but sometimes I couldn't get as much kick as I wanted to, and I felt much better with the EZONE 98 there. It's good for almost every single NRTP level, to be honest. Whether you're just learning and this is going to be one of your first professional grade rackets, I think this is going to be really forgiving for you. It's a good place to start with your game if you're an adult. But also, if you're a really high level player and you have flatter strokes but you like a lot of power, I think this is great too. I would recommend this ahead of a pure drive to most players any day. If you're an older player who's kind of, maybe you're retiring your Prestige or your 6-195, so you like that nice impact feel that's pretty soft but a little bit on the crisper side, not uncomfortable or anything, great comfort. This is a great choice too because it's got that great forgiveness, it's got a nice graphite feel. It's great for doubles, I think, because of that stability on the volleys. They're really awesome to have. The EZONE 98, I think, is more for like the modern stroke. That whippiness is really nice on, these new ATP forehands. If you're a player who's more advanced and looking to customize, this is an awesome option. That lack of stability in stock form is really going to hurt a lot more players than it helps. So you need to be a player who's really thinking about what works for their game to get the most out of the EZONE 98. Both rackets have really control-oriented 16x19 string patterns. I don't think the string beds lean particularly towards spin or flat for each. They're both very versatile, should fit a lot of different players. So at the end of the day, I think what it just comes down to is your stroke mechanics. If you tend to be more of a loopy player, EZONE 98 is going to be the way to go. If you're a flatter hitter, the EZONE 100 is going to be the way to go. I didn't find issues with overhitting with either racket, despite theoretically the EZONE 100 having a lot more power. So I think they're both great options, but they're for very different players. Now, if you did want to learn more about twist weight and specifically its effect on spin, I've actually made a video on that already. I've read your mind, and here it is. A question that's really been on my mind lately is, how do some rackets seem to generate more spin than others? It's like on a daily basis, we're completely bombarded by marketing by these big companies, Babolat with their Aero, Head and the Extreme, Dunlop and the SX, Yonex and the V-Core, and they're saying these rackets are designed for spin. But what does that really mean?